let's talk for a moment about why the Democrats are losing the election and why um, the deep state is kind of forced to do the wild things that they're doing. And let's start with this notion. Politics used to be anybody who ran for office, they had the clear understanding that they were in office to serve their constituents. And so the minimum they would do is pay visits to their districts and hang out with the people. Used to be you would go to the local barbershop, you see the politician in the barbershop, you would go to the local barroom, the politician would be in the barroom. When they weren't in DC, they would be in town. And when they were in town, if you ran into them and you had a problem, they would do what they needed to do to help you solve that problem because they knew that you were one of their constituents. And if they helped you, that one person, by proxy, they're helping over 100 people. Because you'll sit there and say, well, I talked to Congressman such and he did this for me. And you'll go hang out with your friends and you'll brag about how the congressman helped you. And they'll be like, oh, he's a cool guy. And so word of mouth travels and spreads. What's happened in politics is money has taken over and huge interests have bought in, and the money outweighs their duty. Point blank, plain and simple. And this is not just on the Democrat side, this is on the Republican side as well. The Republicans just have a better way of... The Republicans just have Donald Trump at this point in time. Because if it wasn't for him, they'd be in the same damn boat. Honestly. When you start talking about the neocons, they're no different than the Democrats. So the difference between the two parties right now is the lead candidate, which is Donald Trump. And that's honestly it. He, even though he's a Republican, he doesn't represent the Republican Party. He represents the new version of the Republican Party, which will be a populist movement centered around the people, trying to help the people and trying to bring back stability to the nation. So is he a Republican in name? Yes, but quite naturally, you saw his whole time in office that the rhinos were fighting him, which was them saying, oh, you're not a part of our club and our crew. So let's establish that. And so now, if you understand that simple fact that they don't do their jobs on both sides of the aisle, and if only they did their jobs, things will be better. Like, for example, it's okay to go fundraise. I think you need to fundraise, especially in an environment where everybody and their mama is pulling in millions of dollars and filling up their war chest. You need to fundraise. But at the same time, you need to remember Miss Martha, who used to live on a corner down the street from you when you was a kid. Or Miss Margaret, who walks to the store every day. And there used to be a thing where they say politicians run around kissing babies and shaking hands. Ain't no more baby kissing happening because everybody want to kill the babies. Ain't no more handshaking happening because nobody want to be touched. They have become royalty. And the problem is, when you believe you're royalty, you behave like you're royalty. And so it's screw the people. And so what I'm talking about in the context of this video is the existing political structure that is against the people of America and all for themselves maintaining control, power, and wealth. And they are willing to break the system in order for them to have that control, power, and wealth. And this is what she's come to the understanding of. Now, I've seen many people talk about some of the talking points that I've said, but the truth of the matter is, no matter who you are, when you participate in the political system, whether you're making phone calls, whether you're knocking on doors, whether you're holding signs, whatever you're doing, at some point in time, you're going to come into contact with that individual who you're representing. If that person that you come in contact with or their consigliaries that you come into contact with don't treat you the right way, they don't show you respect, they don't do what needs to be done for that community, you do tend to walk away from it. Because you see it for what it is. It's a giant club. And if you're in that club, you have benefits and you have this and you have that. But at the same time, those people can turn their backs on you. And when they turn their backs on you, especially somebody at this age, you see the ramifications and repercussions for it.
Okay, I'm going to get real in this, and it's probably going to piss some people off.
Go ahead,
but I'm okay with that. Because if I'm not being honest, then what else am I doing? I just got back from the DNC where I signed up to volunteer. And when I initially had signed up to volunteer, Joe Biden was still the nominee. It wasn't yet Kamala Harris. I've worked in progressive politics for a long time. I have worked for many different Democratic candidates, Senate candidates, House candidates, even some Democratic organizations. And as the years have gone by, I found myself getting more.
Now, she don't look that old to be talking about as of years ago. She ain't got a damn gray hair on her head. So we maybe talk about 3-4 years.
More disillusioned with the Democratic Party, although until now I've never said that out loud or anywhere public. And I just want to say that by saying this, I'm not necessarily saying that the other party is better. I'm just giving you my experience with working with the Democrats. Throughout my career, I've mostly done campaign fundraising, so I've seen it the way that it works behind the scenes. And I know that candidates spend 8, 9, 10 hours a day just calling donors and begging rich people for money. It's pretty much the only people that they talk to. I mean, of course, sometimes they have to talk to voters, but the majority of their time is just spent calling and begging rich people to give them money for their campaigns. And what this inevitably means is that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's just rich people calling the shots and having the access to talk to the politicians. They're the ones that basically get their ear all day. They're the ones that can help shape and prioritize what the politician actually focuses on.
Now stop. In all fairness, ladies and gentlemen, what she's saying is cannot solely be attributed to the Democratic Party. It's attributed to the entirety of the political system. She just so happened to be, and I'll tell you the point that she got to. She got to the point to where she saw the machine for how it works. And she has morals, and she's uncomfortable. Most people get to the point to where they see how the machine works. And you have a choice to make. You say, okay, this is how the machine works. These people don't give a damn about the people. I've made all these phone calls to all these different donors. I'm responsible for bringing this money in. I'm important. I'm powerful. I know people. I can pick up the phone and call this person. They get what I like to call a disease called the proximity to power. You're close enough to power to where you can wield some of it, but it's not your power. If you move away from it, it's like being in the sun on a chilly day. As long as you're standing in that sun, you're fine. Go in the shade, you start to freeze. And so some people, they realize what the sun is. They realize how it works politically, and they decide to stand there in that sun regardless of the consequences. Then other people see how it works, and they decide they're going to go stand in the shade. What you're looking at is a young lady who decided she's going to speak out and go stand in the shade. And she's going to pay a terrible price for it. I'm pretty sure she's already paid a terrible, terrible price for it. But nonetheless, that's how it works. And I've seen a lot of pundits on YouTube, and they're like, yeah, the Democratic Party has got people, they're losing their mind because this girl came out and Harris people said this and blah, blah, blah. Nah, bro, you down bad. That's how it is on both sides of the equation. It's been that way on both sides of the equation. It's been that way. And it's evident that it's been that way. Because until you had Donald Trump come into the equation, an outside force that came in like a wrecking ball, it was the uniparty system. And I get people all the time saying, well, DW, the Democrats and the Republicans are all the same. I don't disagree with you. But you got a populist party fighting to take over control. They just hijacked one of the parties. And so absolutely, she's right. But where everybody's wrong about what they're saying is they're trying to directly attribute this only to the Democrats. And I understand from a political talking point standpoint to do damage to that campaign. Yes, this is the right talking point is, yeah, she turned on and blah, blah, but it's not the truth, man. Truth is the overarching problem in the political system is the money that's in politics. Point blank, period. $2,500 per person, if I'm not mistaken, is the maximum contribution you can make. $5,000 per family, if I'm not mistaken, is the maximum contribution you can make. But $2,500 per corporation is what you can make. Yeah, if that's still the rules. But then you go through a pact or a fund, you can do a hell of a lot more. Or you can just have all your friends get money. And they know where the money's coming from. You understand what I'm saying? So yes, it's a problem. It's unfortunate that she's going to pay the price, but she's talking about the larger problem. And we all have to deal with the larger problem. Because just because Kamala Harris is about to lose don't mean this is not going to be a problem moving forward.
Even the politicians that detest this, that want to get big money out of politics, still have to play this game. They still have to make these calls.
Don't have a choice.
Still do the same amount of just calling rich people and begging them for money. And what unfortunately happens once they get into office, if they get into office, is that they soon realize that the money machine is so great and the seduction of power is so immense that they no longer adhere to these values.
Yep. Power is a wicked thing, man. It really, really is, especially for a person who doesn't have really good morals or a set of balls. Power will corrupt you real quickly. I mean, really well.
When I first got into politics, I thought that Democrats were the party of the people. And at the DNC this week, I felt like I was in a building with the most elite and out-of-touch people in the entire world.
You were.
It very much felt like, let's just have a huge party and forget all of our problems because the vibes are brat.
I don't know what this brat stuff means. I heard somebody else say that.
When I was there, I didn't feel any connection to real America or the place that I come from, which is the Midwest, Kansas City, Kansas, and Missouri. I didn't feel any connection to the people that I know right now who are struggling to buy their groceries or to pay.
Look at that girl's eyes. Look at her eyes. She is so sincere about what she's saying. I've been there, girl. I know exactly what you're talking about. Look at them eyes. Y'all see them? She is deadly sincere about what she's saying. She's actually about to cry. But it's a great thing. Because I don't know how many people follow this young lady on TikTok, but I can promise you all those people that follow her have woken up. Now, the price that she pays for speaking out is she's going to be ostracized. She'll never be able to do anything again. That's a wrap for her. She'll never pick up the phone again and help anybody ever again. Unless she switches over parties, goes to the independents or go to the Republicans. But the donors aren't the same, so you got to start over from the bottom. But nonetheless, she's telling the truth. The rest of the video is her going on and on and on about how the party is separated from the people and it's how it's a party of elitists and how they just gave one big gigantic DNC party where they celebrated each other and how out of touch they are. But I submit to you, not only are there Democrats that are out of touch, there are Republicans that are so far out of touch with the average day working class person that they don't have the same cares and concerns. That's how come inflation can go through the roof and they don't care. That's how come gas prices can go through the roof and they don't care. Because they're not in touch with you. You dig? I'll holler at y'all later. Deuces.